Color Me Bloody MMA podcast featuring Mike Turpin and Alex Perry.
Ha 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 ha! Welcome back to another episode of Color Me Bloody MMA podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Mike Turpin. With me, I got my buddy, my pal, my co-host, Alex Perry. What up, G?
What's crappening?
Oh God, what's crappening? Did you think about that? At what point during my part did you think you were going to say what's crappening, or did it just come out?
That's not how I roll. It just came out.
It just came out, man. Oh God. It's like that South Park episode where they shit out their mouths. Just crappening, just coming out of your mouth. It's terrible.
Shove a turkey up Martha Stewart.
Okay. Yes.
That's
all right, hold on.
Right?
Yeah, you're right. That is the one. Okay. Well, we had a pretty wild. There was a good bit of MMA that happened since the last time we talked. All right. So there was the UFC event. What do you want to go over first?
Let's talk about the UFC. Then I assume you're talking about Bellator and World Series was on, right?
No. I mean, like, we didn't even get to talk about the we didn't get to talk about the Gegard Mousasi event either. Is there much to talk about? We'll just kind of go over the basics of that. Any big opinion that we have. I mean, the only real thing that I would want to talk about. Let's just go ahead and talk about it. What do you think?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. I'm bringing up something real quick. Go ahead and entertain me for a second. You know what? While we're doing that, why don't you talk about did you watch anything else? Did you watch World Series of Fighting or no?
Nah.
I watched The Ultimate Fighter last night. That was
the second episode or the first?
The first.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
I watched it last night though, but I mean I hadn't seen it. And I'm watching. Are you watching the Cain Velasquez Verdum?
No, I was thinking about it. I mean, do they have a subtitle version on Fight Pass?
Yeah. Yes, they do. That's
right.
where I watched it.
I'll watch it then, but I haven't yet. I did watch the female season's first episode.
Okay, I have the UFC Fight Night Jacare vs. Mousasi 2 up, so we can stop stalling and get to business. That's probably one of the worst intros we've had. What do you think?
It's fine.
By the way, hey, we turned one.
Too hard.
We've been doing this show over a year now. Bam.
We turned one.
And it was right by your birthday, huh?
Yeah, man.
Cool.
Pretty sweet. Soon we're going to be 13 months old.
Wow. And
like
then we're
those annoying people that tell you how old their baby is.
Then we're going to be 14 months old. Yeah. And then, all right, let's go ahead. The first fight that really even matters on here. All right, let's just say Chris Beal got a win over Tateki Matsuda, but that's not nothing really worth talking about. Ali Quinta beat
he looked good.
Rodrigo Dam. That was a good one.
John Moraga got a weird guillotine on Justin Scoggins. I feel like he should have never let that happen. But
how about that? That was pretty cool. Joe Lozon defeated Michael Chiesa. That was a weird stoppage, though. How did you think that fight was going before the stoppage?
I thought it was fairly even. I thought Chiesa was going to start picking up the pace more and start taking over in the fight.
Me too.
Overall, I think he is a better fighter, younger at this point, just has more upside than Lozon. But, Lozon kneed him in the right spot, opened up a cut, and that was it. So,
yep.
I don't know. You call it luck, call it what it is. I mean, he landed a knee that stopped the fight. So, yeah, Joe Lozon. But
yeah, I agree. That's pretty much that's my view exactly. I have nothing else really to say about it. I think Chiesa was starting to look like he might start picking it up a little bit. It's unfortunate it happened. Oh well. Matt Mitrione against Derek Lewis. Wow, 41 seconds, knockout, punch, bam, out.
It was a weird one, too. Like, Derek Lewis kind of just ran into Mitrione's fist.
Yeah, man, it wasn't even that much of a punch, right?
It didn't seem like it, but, with the heavyweights, blah, 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 you'll get stuff like that every now and then. But anytime I can see Meathead get a win, I'm psyched. Love Meathead.
Yeah, I like Meathead. I'm down. Ben Rothwell beat Alistair Overeem. Man, I don't know what I said on the podcast last time. I mean, I don't even remember my own picks.
Said you would have thrown money on him if you had like an extra $100, and
I did say
it would have been a good idea.
Yeah, I did say that. Okay, I thought I said that, man. I believed that the more it got close to the fight, the more I thought Ben Rothwell was going to win, and the less chance I saw Overeem winning, unless Rothwell just came in out of shape and looking like shit. But
Yeah.
I really was feeling like Ben had the ability to just land. That's all it takes is to land.
Yeah. You know the thing, at least, I don't know, I think Overeem's striking defense for MMA is worse than his chin because it wasn't his chin that failed him here. I mean, it was his striking defense. He
I've
got
talked
hit
about that in
behind
the
ear.
past. I've talked
Yeah.
about that in the past. I've said the way Overeem covers up is the way, like, it only works for boxing where you have big pillows on your hand that can cover your face. He uses blocking. He doesn't use head movement. He doesn't
Right.
use his range correctly.
It's how he won the K1 Grand Prix, man. He just plodded forward when he was all roided up, and he had that, straight up the middle, just post defense. And it works with those big gloves. He plods in with that standard defense. The gloves can't fit through the middle. It's hard to come around the side. And then he comes in with a huge hook and drops guys. But in MMA, he can't cover that big head, man. And punches come, right up the middle, or they come around the side with hooks, and you hit him behind the
Yeah.
ear and stuff. And that's how he got dropped here. And, it wasn't that surprising, I guess. I mean, I had
No.
Reed winning, but, as you're watching that real time, you're not going, whoa, Overeem got knocked out. I mean,
No,
it
no,
seems
you're
like
right.
the norm lately.
Yeah, it's totally normal. The only thing I wish is that a fight like this could have happened back when Reem was roided up, and we would still find out that Reem is who I thought he was back then. Because nothing is worse than having the TRT and all of that be, or the fact that the guy was juiced out of his mind, be the reason that he's now losing. Because that same Overeem before would have gotten beat by. Maybe he would have been able to stop Travis Brown because he would have been stronger and hitting him harder. But that
Right.
Travis Brown was actually his fight with Travis Brown. He was roided up too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't even know if that matters. Never mind. I don't even know. Well, he might. There was a time where he looked much bigger in Strikeforce. You can agree with that, right?
Yeah,
Then he
for
looked,
sure.
Yeah. So like the Brock Lesnar Overeem seemed to be still really big, but he did lose a little bit of size after that. He
did.
seriously might have just been taking TRT and keeping jacked off that. Like it seemed like he used to be on like HGH and all kinds of steroids, and then he kind of was just on elevated testosterone.
Right.
Is the way it looked, or he backed off some, probably because he knew the tests were a little more serious. And I wish Ben Rothwell could have fought that Overeem, or Junior Dos Santos, or someone that would not, even like a Roy Nelson or something, just to prove that Overeem had just as bad of a chin as he has now. Because I've been saying that for a long time, and it sucks that it took this to prove it at a time where people don't quite realize that that's the Overeem of forever.
Right.
That's what I think.
So weird how long he's been around.
I know. But and so Kenny Florian last night during this weekend's fight night was talking about how to fight with reach, and it was really educated, and I liked it. And not a lot of people say this, so I've often talked about the blocking being an issue in MMA, and it doesn't work with the small gloves, but he addressed that and said that a fighter, when we talk about the fights, I'll remember who it was. A fighter with reach advantage was not fighting with their length. Who could that have been? Could it be? I don't know. Regardless, it was, I'll think, doesn't matter. The point is that there was a fighter that was keeping their hands close to their head when if they wanted to fight with their reach, they could have extended that jab out and keep it out. And that pawing jab, almost that Diaz style jab is one of the people he compared it to. But the idea that an MMA fighter extending their jab hand is able to utilize their reach so much better as opposed to keeping their hands up and letting their opponent get in that boxing range. And
okay. Gotcha.
it was a really good way of putting it. And I've never heard like Joe or any of the other commentators really address it. And me not being like a striker or anything, it's only something I've thought about, but have never like heard somebody who's educated say it. So it was cool that it came from him. And I heard that, yeah, it's traditional boxing defense and the stance and the style and like, the hand position is really not the best way to fight in MMA.
Nah, not really. And it boggles my mind when you see a guy with a huge reach advantage, like, sit there in the pocket and swing.
Yeah, or just not keep the distance.
Don't pump the jab.
I mean, we've watched John Jones do it, and I know he does open hand, and that's an issue, but we watch John Jones utilize his reach and does it so well. And then we find someone, even if it's like a Jessamine Duke or...
I mean, look at Stefan Struve.
Yeah, guys like that who don't utilize it. They don't know how to turn their body in the right way and extend that jab, hand out, and even that shoulder leading more. They really square up and they don't keep distance with their hands.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to get inside. And at that point, if you're at the end of your opponent's range and you have better reach, what winds up happening is they're at a position where you're not able to hit them as powerfully. Like the leverage of a long arm would be ideal to hit somebody at the end of your reach. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. If the end of my reach is, I'm not even going to put a good number on it, but is 3 feet out in front of my shoulder. If you're 2.5 feet out in front of my shoulder, I'm not going to be able to hit you as hard, or I'll have to maybe do an uppercut. But with like a straight punch, it's ideal to be able to hit you with as full of an extension as possible to get the most leverage behind that fist. And so if I'm not keeping you at the end of my reach and I'm at the end of your reach, not only can you hit me, you can hit me harder than I can hit you relatively. Does that make sense? Or a harder exertion level, like percentage.
Yeah.
So that it made a lot of sense and it fit true. And that style that Overeem has of, his stance is really not ideal. But yeah, I'm curious what'll happen. Ben has no chance, man. The heavyweight division has more, I don't want to say completely one-dimensional fighters. Ben Rothwell's not one-dimensional, but they do have guys with less dimensions and less well-rounded game that in the heavyweight division than any other division combined. There are more guys at heavyweight that are not complete fighters. I'm not going to go as far to say that Ben Rothwell is not a complete fighter, but there are a lot of guys that aren't. But between his cardio, his lack of technical ability on the feet, which I don't think he has much of, and I don't think his ground game is anything crazy good, right? He's okay at jiu-jitsu, right? And he's probably a strong grappler, but not like a great wrestler, right?
Yeah, he's pretty okay. I think he won like European trials in ADCC or something.
Yeah.
He's got a really strong guillotine. But no, nothing amazing.
Yeah, it's just something about heavyweight. Maybe these guys aren't as one-dimensional as I think. But when I look at these guys and like, I was in a thread earlier where people were talking about Todd Duffy and saying like, does Todd Duffy have a chance at heavyweight? And I'm thinking like, Todd Duffy can only exist at heavyweight. That formula of fighter does not exist in any other division.
Just like decent boxer and a pretty good wrestler?
Yeah, exactly. But with no serious like skill.
Right. But then again, if he took that same guy and all this, he's had a welterweight frame his entire life, like would he be able to move differently and tailor his game differently? It's like when you're just that big, you're limited.
No, you're right. I don't know if I talked to you about, we might have talked about this last time on the podcast because I was thinking about it. When I watch heavyweights, it's harder to control that body. Remember?
Yeah. Right.
You know, I don't know what analogy I used then, but it's like, it's a much.
Yeah, you were talking with me about that. You said it's like, you talked about like driving a big truck as opposed to a race car or something.
Yeah, it's like the same person, the same brain operating it with the same knowledge and skill level and training and all of that. But operating a Mack truck is so much harder than operating, a Corvette.
Right.
So that's what I think it's like. So maybe you're right. Maybe that's what it is, but
they're just so damn big, man. Like,
yeah.
Imagine Todd Duffy throwing a flying armbar.
Yeah, you're right.
Imagine Anthony Pettis doing it.
Okay, in the main event, Jacare Souza defeated Gegard Mousasi, submitted him, guillotine choke round 3. Yeah.
Yeah, he looked good, but Musasi looked bad.
His striking is just not a style that works with aggressive MMA strikers. I don't
No,
think.
he wanted to fight this passive kickboxing fight, and Souza wasn't really having it. He was aggressive, and he threw power shots and landed a bunch of them. I mean, his takedowns, I've always thought his takedowns were very good. It looks like classical wrestling sometimes, his takedowns. He can hit a blast double. He's good at ripping single legs out when he has you up against the fence. And I don't know, he's a pretty good wrestler, good takedown artist. And obviously, once you're on the ground, it's not good. So,
Yeah.
I don't know, he looked good. And I like how he jumped on that guillotine. He's not really a guillotine guy. I've never seen him do it. He likes being on top, and he
Well,
likes
in all
pulling.
fairness, this was late into round 3, and Mousasi looked like he had nothing left.
Yeah. Musasi was just trying to get up, and he just held his neck out there like not a care in the world. And
Yeah, man.
Jacare said, "Fuck it," grabbed a hold of it. He usually likes like Kimuras and rear naked chokes and arm triangle chokes. When I think of it, off the top of my head, those are the only submissions I've seen him go for and hit. Never seen him do a guillotine, but obviously, I'm sure he can do any submission you've ever heard of. But
Yeah, I'll tell you this, man. Jacare with his shaved head and his ears and just everything about him, he looks like the prototype of like a very human-looking alien. Like if you were going to make like a sci-fi movie of this like species of aliens that evolved very similar to humans, Jacare would be like the prototype.
yeah, he's goofy looking.
Yeah, man, it's really odd looking. Really odd. But no, Musasi's subdued, relaxed, striking style is not going to get him anywhere. Guys like Weidman. All right, here's the thing. If Souza, if Weidman, if these guys had to fight Mousasi in a striking match, they'd win. If the only thing they were allowed to do was stay on the feet, they would beat Mousasi. I really think so.
You think so?
Maybe Souza would have less of a chance. I think Weidman would definitely win a striking match with Mousasi.
Weidman would, yeah.
You know, so
That's the thing. I mean, you can't just paint everything black and white. You know, MMA is such a dynamic sport, and to just be like, well, he's not a good striker. Well, he is a good striker.
well, I'm not
It's
saying
just
that.
not. I know you're not saying that. I don't mean you. I mean you in general. Like when people say things like that, it's I don't know. It's weird because he's a very good striker classically and for kickboxing, but for MMA, yeah, he's gonna have problems because he's so passive and.
People are figuring out his style, man. I really believe this, and a lot of these American wrestlers are really proving themselves when they go up against these more classically trained strikers. And it's really wild watching some of these guys. Not that Souza is a wrestler, but or American, but you get what I mean. Sometimes you get those matchups, whether it's oh God, man, you know that stereotypical matchup though, like the wrestler against like the striker, and sometimes the wrestler outstrikes the striker.
Because of all those variables, the threat of the takedown, etc.
Do you think that's what made? I don't think that's what made Mousasi fight a certain way, though.
No,
Didn't
not in
Mousasi
this
go for a takedown?
Not that
I could be
remember.
wrong. I could be wrong. I could be thinking of a different fight. Maybe Alistair Overeem went for a takedown against Ben Rothwell.
I think that happened.
Yeah. Okay. I'm thinking of something. Maybe it happened. I don't know. Mousasi looked okay off his back in like maybe the first round or part of the second round, and he was threatening Souza, but it was nothing. Nothing was going to come.
When he
of it.
wasn't tired, he looked okay. He was able to defend himself respectfully.
Yeah.
Man.
Okay. Let's
I
go
honestly
ahead.
hope that Vitor Belfort gets hurt and then Jacare fights Weidman.
Me too, man. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. I'd rather
Jacare.
see that.
All right, man. So middleweight is by far, in my opinion, the most exciting weight class right now, next to, say, light heavyweight. As far as who you have that's able to fight for the title, like Chris Weidman knowing that you have Nick Diaz versus Anderson Silva happening, exclude that fight. You still have Luke Rockhold. You still have, Tim Kennedy, who hasn't lost in the UFC. You have Jacare, all of whom are great matches for Weidman, in my opinion. Maybe Tim Kennedy is the one that maybe has almost no chance there, but you never know. I mean, Tim Kennedy is a strong wrestler, and his striking is okay. His reach isn't very good, but his striking is okay.
Yeah. He does what he can with that frame.
Yeah.
Must be tough.
And that's again though, the guy is a very determined, confident person, and you never know what'll happen. Like look at TJ Dillashaw with stuff like that. It's like you never know what will happen, until a guy gets to train for the title.
Yeah.
That is a different type of motivation. So a guy like Tim Kennedy, who's very motivated and has some tools and hasn't lost in the UFC, you never know what would happen. Vitor's another one that he's in the mix. It's hard without TRT to think of him as being a serious person, but we still have Machida out there as being exciting.
Machida, yeah, man. You even got Bisping out there, but I think Rockhold's going to beat him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if Tim Kennedy beat Bisping, I see Rockhold doing the same exact thing.
And then you got guys hovering around probably the 10, maybe even 15 positions. Like Talis Leadus looks good nowadays,
he does.
And CB Dalloway's out there, and that big huge dude Romero is out there. But yeah, middleweight's awesome.
Yeah, man. No,
best it's been in years.
I agree, and it's great, and there's a lot of great contenders, and I'm excited to see what happens. Jacare especially. No, Jacare especially. If his chin holds up, I think he really might have the tools to beat Weidman, except for the fact that Weidman might be able to just grapple him.
True.
But it's exciting.
I think Weidman could outstrike most guys in that division.
Me too. I agree. Let's go ahead.
I want to see him fight Rockhold. That's my number one title fight for him.
I agree right now. I think that matchup is the most interesting. Mm-hmm. I think because they are both very skilled grapplers, and Rockhold has very similar striking, but a little bit longer reach. I would say that is a very even matchup.
And more kicks.
Yeah, exactly. A more dynamic strike. Like Weidman likes to punch and get in close. Rockhold is a little bit more of a Thai style, or uses more kicks. I guess.
But
I don't know.
He's so big and strong, like he'd be able to hold his own in the clinch and on the ground as well. A very competent grappler.
Absolutely.
It would just be a good fight everywhere.
Absolutely. A great grappler.
So what else did we miss?
Fight-wise? What do you mean?
Yeah, event-wise, yeah.
No, we're going to talk about last night.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you wanted to talk about the... No, we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
So what all happened this weekend? It was Bellator World Series of Fighting, and then UFC.
How shitty have World Series of Fighting cards been?
Oh, yeah. Super shitty.
What is up with that? Do they just not make enough money to pay the big fighters so they can only have events with these shitty fighters? Is that what it is? You think that's it?
Maybe.
Because they have all these good fighters on their roster. I mean, even guys like, whether it's Yushin Okami, John Fitch, these guys are not... Use the fighters you have. Make them fight 4 times a year or something if they're down. I'm sure they're down. They get paid for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
not,
Polaris.
Like, Polaris versus Fitch isn't scheduled till like late December.
I know. And the Bellator cards have been all right. We'll talk about that. But let's go ahead and first talk about the UFC Fight Night, Bigfoot versus Arlovsky. To be honest, okay, there was a lot of cool things on here, but because they're with fighters that nobody really cares a ton about, we might want to skip a couple of these. I mean, all right, we'll go through the card. But
yeah, I'll just if I want to say something, I'll briefly say something. Or if you do.
Hanayaya defeated Johnny Bedford Kimura round 2.
Yeah. Good way to start the card off, man. Not a fan of Johnny Bedford. Kind of think he's a douche. And I'm glad he got submitted. There's always controversy surrounding that guy's fights, and he's not even an important guy in the division. He's just got a big mouth and a chip on his shoulder, and I like seeing him get beat. So he got Kimura'd, and I was happy.
Yeah. No, I agree. I was happy. Screw that guy. Sean Spencer beat Paul Tiago. Paul Tiago, what has he lost? Like 5 or 6 of his last 7 or 8? It's something weird.
They keep him in the UFC because they go to Brazil so much. It's
He's
it's
lost
just his name.
7 of his last 9.
Yeah, no, he doesn't belong in the UFC. He should be cut. He should have already been cut, but definitely after this fight. He just fought a dude he couldn't hang with. The guy was too big, strong, and athletic, and his grappling defense was competent enough to stay out of trouble.
How do you lose 7 of 9 in the UFC? And speaking of art, now this is another thing I was thinking about too. What are up with all these inactive fighters? Is this just the time of the injury? Brandon Thatch.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Hasn't fought in a year.
Yep.
And that
It's the
dude
sport.
fought March, August, November 2013. He fought 3 times in like half a year. And now he hasn't fought in a year. Is he injured? What is up with that? Why is that the case? I thought about that last night. What about that?
Yeah, he broke his toe.
Yeah. I remember when that happened originally, but that was a long time ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like the norm for people just to be sidelined for like a year now. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
It's been happening for a while, though, right? Like, remember 2012, a couple of years back? Oh, my God. I can't tell you how many fights and sometimes cards almost got scrapped.
I know a lot of fights have been pulled from injury, but I just mean inactive fighters. It seems like there's bigger fighters that are inactive longer now.
Shit. Anthony Pettis, for one.
Yeah, but he's had some injuries, right? And then he's doing the show.
Well, plus he did, The Ultimate Fighter. Yeah, you're right. It's crazy. I mean, part of it is injuries. Obviously, the nature of the sport is volatile, and training for it is so dangerous. And
in my opinion, if a fighter gets done a fight and he didn't have an injury, he can get scheduled for his next fight. Maybe it can be like 5 months away, so you can take 2 months off if you really want to.
Sometimes that happens, but it doesn't seem like it happens enough.
Guys like Khabib, they go a long time without fights on paper. You know.
Right.
Okay. Oh, Mike. I was thinking about the other night with Michael Johnson. Just random. I'm just like, I wonder if that guy has a fight right now. It was a couple people. I was like, does this guy have a fight right now? And I'd look it up and I'd have trouble finding it. I mean, I don't know if he specifically. I did look it up and I can't even remember. So.
Right.
It's like your mind is like a bucket. I think imagine if your mind is a 5-gallon bucket, my mind is completely filled to the brim. Somewhere around the time I turned like 24-ish, I think, my bucket got completely full. And now every time I pour something in, something comes out. And sometimes I pour something in and it doesn't quite make it in. It just kind of pours over the edge. And that's what happens when I look stuff up online sometimes.
Especially with MMA, you can't be expected to remember all these guys and detailed information about them.
No, it's hard enough to keep track of the UFC now. Like, I pay attention to the other stuff, but I only know maybe 10 guys on different, each individual organization anymore. I used to know everything. I used to know like the Strikeforce Challenger series, dude. I would watch like the jungle fights. I mean, literally, I knew I should have been on an MMA podcast back then, not now. No.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Francisco.
So Sean Spencer defeated Paulo Thiago, unanimous decision. Yeah.
Yup. Francisco Trinaldo, Udid, Leandro
Silva.
Got it. Bam. George Sullivan knocked out Igor Arojo.
Yeah, that was awesome. Man, that guy's a tough bastard. George Sullivan.
Yeah, man.
That would not be fun fighting that dude. Like, that's the kind of guy that you're probably not going to submit. He's just too strong, too savvy with his grappling and submission defense. And this guy, obviously very good at jiu-jitsu, but man, he'd be going for sweeps and submissions. And anytime he left himself in a vulnerable position where his head was sticking out there, this George Sullivan guy just pounded on him, like really made him pay for it every single time. And eventually got a legitimate, he knocked him out cold on the ground with just a few shots, a few right hands. And it was pretty brutal.
Yeah, it was awesome. You know who he looks like to me? I mean, he's a lighter.
He looks like Ben Saunders almost.
Okay. All right. That's not what I was going to say, but I get what you're saying. He reminds me of the dude who fought, who's on a tear. It's Cummins. Is it Pat? Pat Cummins. That's the guy who fought Daniel Cormier.
Yeah.
Yeah. He looks like Pat Cummings.
Yeah. He kind of looks like the guy he fought.
Yeah.
George Sullivan, that Igor Arujo guy.
Yeah, you're right.
They look just like each other.
That's true too. I thought, yeah. Okay. Pepe, I'm not Godfredo, whatever. Pepe Castro.
God forbid. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, Alex beating Deshaun Johnson. Triangle
Yeah.
armbar. I don't like this Pepe guy, but he won.
Nah, I don't like him either, but he is exciting.
Yeah, he is exciting.
You don't really see submissions straight up from the guard anymore.
Yeah.
Because you said the guard was dead.
Whoa,
Pepe
calm
proved me
down.
wrong.
Calm down. It's a general statement, okay?
Right.
You know, coming
Pepe,
into coming into fights with only the cardio to last one round is dead, but it's not completely dead. You know, sometimes guys win and they aren't able to last more than a round. I'm just saying, one-dimensional fighters are dead in the UFC, but they still exist. It's not literally dead, Alex.
Yeah.
You know, what are you talking to me like you're autistic or something? Come on. No.
So this guy, I don't know, it's pretty embarrassing to get caught with pretty much like a white belt setup for the triangle off your back. You push the guy's wrist into his body, your leg pops up over his shoulder, and you start locking up the triangle. Now, he was very quick and explosive about it, but it's like, you don't see that too often. Usually it's in a transition or something. But it was cool, and then he flipped him over, and he had the mounted triangle with the arm bar like over his thigh and started cranking on, and the guy had to tap. It was cool.
All right, cool. Moving on. Jessica Andrade. Who's the one who has the name that's Andrade?
This one.
Okay, that's Andrade. Because there's okay.
There's also a ring girl named Andrade.
Okay, I gotcha. Jessica Andrade going against Larissa Pacheco. Doesn't matter. Not going to last long. Bam.
Nah, yeah, she...
This was pretty dominating. Yeah, this was dominating.
Yeah, I mean, I remember we were at Green Turtle watching, I think we saw her debut, Jessica Andrade. She fought the Marine chick, the lesbian. What's her name? You know who I'm talking
I know who you're
Carmouche.
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, she was tough. Like, she almost guillotined her, I think. You know, she's definitely a tough chick, and she beat the crap out of this girl. And eventually hit an arming guillotine. And I think the girl just wanted out, you know, just kind of... She
also had a tough fight with Raquel Pennington where she was just like a bull, just like, you know, a tough bitch. No, I'm just kidding. No. She's a tough bitch. No. She was good as shit against, I mean, I don't know, good, but the fight against Raquel was really good and it was exciting and it was a split decision and it could have been fight of the night probably. Okay, Ayuri Alcantara going against Russell Doan.
Yeah, I was excited for this one.
Yeah, Alcantara won. That was a back and forth fight a little bit.
It was just Doan was able to hit enough takedowns, you know, to secure it, I think. But I think
to secure what?
Well, to secure the fight. But
no,
I thought it was a bad. Hey, asshole! Listen, I thought it was a bad decision.
Wait. Do you know who won?
Yeah, Alcantara.
Oh, I get what you're saying. You think Doan did enough with the takedowns to win the fight, but Alcantara won.
Yeah, I thought he got kind of screwed.
Okay, because you said secure the decision, and I thought you thought that meant that he won. No, you know, I kind of agreed, and I usually don't go that way. But between this fight and you know the other one that was like that a lot, the Tony Ferguson fight that happened, you know, on the last
Castillo.
UFC. Yeah.
Yeah.
These two fights were kind of similar with that, and not that. It was kind of similar, and I kind of had weird feelings about the decision. I'm not sure who I would give it
Castillo
to.
Winning that one.
Me too, I think. I remember I said because he was so damn aggressive. But I'm saying it's similar in the fact that I understand. Well, I was very happy, Tony. Wait, you had Castillo winning?
Yeah, I thought, but I was okay with Ferguson winning. Like, hey,
that was
I'm like everyone else. I'm all for doing damage off your back, and I think that should count more for these passive dudes after they get the takedowns and they just lay on you, and they just want to look busy, you know, throwing elbows and punches, but they're not doing damage. Like,
yeah,
I want to see the right guy win the fight.
No, you're right. I agree. And both fights, I left with mixed feeling. Like, I'm glad Alcantara won because he was more aggressive and was, you know, I like that style of fighting. I'm glad Tony Ferguson won. I thought Russell Doan won. I thought Castillo won.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? But I'm glad the wrong guy won in the cases.
Yeah, Eric Alcantara is he's a beast. He's a tough guy. It seems like he's more of a first round fighter. Like if he's going to finish you, it's probably going to be in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
And this one started out just like his fight with Uriah Faber, where he He dropped him and took his back and was really dominating in the first round. And then from then on, it was kind of
Yeah.
he was letting the other guy back into the fight.
Okay, we had Santiago Ponzinibbio going up against. Can Sherdog start using the names that UFC uses?
Oh
'Cause,
yeah, instead of like
I
the
mean,
whole thing.
The whole thing. And can we, if they go by their nickname as their first name, we can get that instead of like Godofredo Castro can say Pepe Castro or whatever he goes by,
Right.
or however he goes, Godfredo Pepe or whatever he goes by. Same thing as Wendell de Oliveira Marquez. Hell if I know. Marquez going against Ponzinibbio. Well, he got knocked out in round one. I thought it was a good stoppage, but it shocked me how quickly Marquez recovered. I thought he was
I know,
out.
with the way he got dropped and did the stanky leg. I can't believe he got up so fast and his eyes were there. He was
He was like,
lucid,
dude,
you
I'm
know what I
fine.
mean?
And I'm like, what?
That was so weird. It was a good stoppage. You know what I mean? From the
Yeah.
ref's position, this dude
You had to
got
stop it.
blitzed. You have to stop that fight, right? But the guy got right back up. It was kind of awkward. It was like, well, dude,
Yeah.
you got dropped so bad. Mm-hmm. I had to.
I'm glad the Pons got the win.
The Pons.
Hey.
Ponzi.
Oh, man.
They should call him the scheme. Like Ponzi.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Right.
I got it. Leonardo Santos going up against Efren Escudero.
Your boy.
Santos was on the Ultimate Fighter Brazil. Efren Escudero got cut from the UFC a little prematurely, and then for some reason, but I have no clue why this guy is back in the UFC.
I know, it's not like he was on a big win streak. I mean, yeah,
No.
he won 3 fights in a row, but then he lost to that gay porn star guy, Dakota
Yeah.
Cochran. And then
Yeah.
he won a fight, and they let him back in.
So he beat Juha Pekka Vainkainen in a Superior Challenge, Hausenberg, and that was good enough. That was a third round, right at the last second TKO, and that was good enough to earn him a spot back at the UFC. Mind you, when this guy got cut from the UFC, he lost his next 2 fights. So outside of the UFC, he was 4-3.
Yeah, no, it must have.
Oh,
There's a
come
reason for it.
come on,
It's-
you know?
I think it's a combination of his name. Like a fair amount of people know who Efren Escudero is from the
Yes.
show or whatever. A combination of that, and they must have gotten him for cheap.
That's
You know
what I was
mean?
gonna say.
Him and his manager must have settled for some shit contract or something. Because it's just a waste of a roster spot. Escudero's terribly average at fighting.
And can we get, and now look, maybe this actually is, but I would be shocked if I had to pick this. Can we get to the fight of the night, the co-main event? Gleison Tebow versus Piotr Hallman? That was fight of the night.
You liked it?
No, it was actually fight of the night. I'm
Oh,
being,
you're stating facts.
yes. No, it wasn't fight of the night. If that thing earns fight of the night, no one earns fight of the night. It wasn't
Yeah.
a terrible fight. But
It
even the
wasn't. first round
commentators
was
almost,
exciting. Tebow came out like nuts, man. He was so
for like a
aggressive.
minute.
I know.
For a minute. Even the rest of the first round wasn't that good. Hallman picked it up a little bit at times in like the third round. Tebow kept throwing spinning back fists. And this was my favorite line, okay? He throws like 15 spinning back fists in this fight. The 14th time he throws it, the commentator's like, Anik's like, he's really doing a good job of mixing things up. It's like, no dum-dum. If you do that 18 times, it's not mixing it up. Just because it's an unorthodox or, less regular strike,
Right.
less common, doesn't mean he's mixing it up. Good Lord.
You're really setting the bar high for John Anik, though. You gotta.
I know. Well, either him or I think he apologized for this fight afterward. He said it was at times hard to watch or something.
That's funny.
I'm misquoting him, I think, but the connotation is there. What I'm saying, it's synonymous with that.
Tebow's always been pretty boring. He's just this Brazilian wrestler essentially that has a little bit of jiu-jitsu, and if you give your neck, he might choke you. But really, he just leans against you on the fence, or he takes you down and does enough to not get stood up. Like, his fights were never exciting.
I know, man. This guy's been with the UFC for so long, and
He got his 15th win.
It sucks to see him fight a guy who's more exciting. Piotr
Right.
is, I'm pronouncing that name like a pretentious asshole.
I think it's just
Piotr.
Peter.
Peter, I know.
Piotr.
Piotr.
That's awesome.
Piotr Hallman. Peter Hallman. Peter Hallman is a fighter out of Gdynia, Poland.
That's awesome. No,
yeah.
the story of this fight was, T-Bow just delivered a handful of takedowns and pretty much landed enough, I guess, power shots to just eke out a decision.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It was
every
not exciting.
time Hallman started being aggressive, he would do well. He just wasn't aggressive enough, or he'd get taken down, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, Andrei Arlovsky going up against Antonio. Real quick before I forget this, Efren Escudero really showed, in my opinion, in the third round that he doesn't deserve to be in the UFC. It went 1-1. In the second round, Efren won, and I think the third round went down to who wanted it more. I know.
Did you not think Escudero was going to knock him out after that? I kind of did.
I did.
By one of those weird overhand rights that hit behind the ear or something. I thought it was going to happen, but like an idiot, he goes to the ground.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Okay, Andrei Arlovsky going against Antonio Bigfoot Silva.
Yes.
This is another one I thought was going to happen, man. I thought it was going to happen. Actually, if you look at just in case you don't believe me, you can look at my count. I don't know if I picked this last time because the safe bet was.
Oh shit! I forgot to do counter move.
Yeah, I picked counter move. By the way, counter move is confusing. I could only find a couple of free games that only had 10 to 12 people in them, and they didn't have a prize.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to do them earlier, picks earlier in the week, because I did it the day of.
Yeah,
But-
try to do it when they first become available, after the previous event ends.
Yeah.
Check counter move.
Okay, cool. Well, anyway, I had Andrei Arlovsky in every one that I picked because I was I felt it. I just felt like
Cool.
Bigfoot's not going to be able to hit him, and Arlovsky's going to connect, and that's
Bigfoot
exactly what
just
happened.
stood there. God, he looked like shit.
He should have tried to wrestle Arlovsky,
Yeah.
that dumb idiot.
They fought before. He held him up against the cage, got him tired, got a few takedowns off of it, some ground and pound. I mean, he should have gone back to that. Obviously, it got him to win the first time.
Well, it's early in the fight, man, where you can knock dudes out like that. I bet you if this was the third round, that would not have knocked out Antonio Silva, even if it had the same power. Look back at the Mark Hunt fight.
Yeah, I know. It's how are you able to eat all these Mark Hunt bombs?
And Andrei, Arlovsky just knock you out with something that it was good. And honestly, it was the follow-up that really knocked him out.
Well, the hammer fist, right?
Yeah.
They were.
I'll say.
That was so weird.
Everything about it was weird. Arlovsky's celebration was bizarre. He was not that amped up, but he was kind of amped up, and he was
He did the little cha-cha dance, and then he got up on the fence, and he said something
that guy's.
I don't know, fuck you. I don't know what he said.
Yeah, that was cool because they were booing him.
Right.
But then you got to hear his cornerman be like, "Tell them you love them. Tell them you love them."
What was that?
Because he didn't want Andre to go up there and say, "Fuck you guys"
Who cares?
I
Fuck
know.
Brazilian crowds, man. They chant you're gonna die whenever
I
there's
know.
a non-Brazilian fighter.
But imagine if he would have said that, they would have rioted. He
Well,
could have
on the
died.
mic.
He could have died.
Right. Andrei Arlovsky killed in post-fight celebration.
Yeah. No, I mean it's not as crazy as you think.
This was
okay.
awesome for me, man. You know I'm a big Arlovsky guy.
Okay, so Arlovsky, in my opinion, I honestly think you put Arlovsky up against, let's say Travis Brown loses his next fight.
Which he's not. He's fighting Brendan Schaub, but I see what you're saying.
All right, let's say this. God, that's a tough one because Brendan. All right.
No, here's what you do. He fights the Mark Hunt Roy Nelson winner.
Okay. God, the problem is if anyone catches Arlovsky, he's going out.
I know.
It sucks because he's actually pretty technical striker for the
Yeah,
heavyweight
he's got
division
good
still.
footwork.
Yeah.
He's fun to watch on the feet.
Oh, sucks. It sucks. I mean, you can't get your faith behind a guy like that.
How much would Roy Nelson like to rematch him?
Oh, Roy Nelson would knock him out probably, but I don't know. You never know.
I can't believe Arlovsky's the only guy to ever knock him out.
Yeah, he didn't really knock him out.
He did.
You think so?
I mean, yeah. It wasn't like KO, but
How about Nick Diaz getting knocked out so early in his career and never getting knocked out again? That was a KO.
Yeah, it was. He was out.
John
Same
Fitch.
thing with John Fitch. Yeah, before obviously
Yeah.
Hendricks, but
Exactly.
right. He went so long without one.
Okay. Let's go.
Arlovsky's also the only guy to ever knock out Ben Rothwell.
Damn.
Weird. So he
That
must have
was
like
a
weird
late in the
power.
yeah. He
Yeah, that
does
was a
have a lot
third
of power.
rounder.
That was, and Rothwell got really gassed in that, but still, he poured it on him. I remember that was I watched that fight live. That was the same night as a UFC, I think, and I was flipping back and forth 2 pay-per-views.
Affliction?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and real quick, the Bellator. All right, World Series of Fighting 13 was headlined by Cody Bollinger and Marlon Moraes. He lost. He got submitted. Cody Bollinger lost. Bam, done. That card sucks.
What do you think about that guy, Melvin Moraes?
I don't know. I don't know what I think. He
You
fought
never
Cody
seen him
Bollinger.
before?
Nah, I've seen him once or twice.
He's very good.
Maybe I've seen him more than that, but I don't really, he's good. He's good, but he fought Cody Bollinger.
Yeah, I know.
You
Yeah,
know.
Bollinger's serviceable. I don't know. I think Moraes is the best bantamweight outside of the UFC.
Sure, I don't even know. Yeah, exactly. Name 10 other bantamweights outside of the UFC.
Well, it's between
Cody
him
Bollinger?
and Dantas, pretty much.
You know what I mean? So, great. Wow. Best one outside of the UFC. There are ones in the UFC I don't even care about.
Right.
It's just, I don't give a shit. It's not that I don't give a shit, but it's not like, who knows? We've seen it time and time again not to believe the hype of fighters until they come to the UFC and see what they're made of. But no, he might be great. He might be really, really good. And sometimes it works out that way. When you take a guy like Gilbert Melendez, people like that. There are other people, Jacare. But
This guy's good. He's in a good camp on the East Coast. He trains with like Frank Yeager and Edson Barboza, all those guys, like the Ricardo Almeida team. Those guys give him a lot of praise.
yeah. Okay. Oh, and we can talk about the Bellator real quick. The Bellator.
Okay, was there nothing else of note on that World Series card?
No. Did you look at it?
I'm just looking it over right now. Keon Caldwell, I mean, he was a really popular NCAA wrestler, I think a national champ, but I don't know anyone else on that card. That's funny.
I know,
Okay.
man. I could have seen these people before, but I don't remember their names. That's for damn sure. I have no idea. We can talk, but let's talk about
Bellator?
yeah, the Bellator. Oh, let me see.
The one with like Bobby Lashley on it and stuff?
No, that happened before that. You didn't know that this just happened?
I knew that there was a card on Friday.
You didn't know that this just happened? I clicked the wrong thing though. What did I click? No, that's right. Okay.
It's the one that was in Michigan.
Yeah, well, it had I don't know why I'm getting this. The main event was Sherdog really screws up. Maybe that was the main event. The main event was Justin James versus Ruben.
Nah, that's
Durant.
a Sherdog problem. It was
Sherdog screws up all these Bellator.
was Joey
fights.
Beltran,
It was
Emmanuel
Emmanuel Newton.
Newton.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. I'm like, why do they do this? That happens all the time too when I'm reading the recaps on those. Ryan Couture fought and won. 3
Nice.
minutes into the first round with
Gotta
a rear
finish.
naked choke. Okay, Emmanuel Newton beat Joey Beltran, spinning back fist, third round, knocked him out cold. Have you seen that?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy because remember that's how he knocked out King Mo.
It was brutal.
Yeah, I saw it. It didn't look like obviously it was powerful. It didn't look like the most powerful thing I've
No.
ever seen. But man,
it was
did
a
it
brutal
put
knockout.
Beltran out.
Hell yeah, it did.
And his chin is gone now. Like he used to have one of the best chins I'd ever seen. He used to just
Yeah.
get the shit beat out of him back when he was a heavyweight in the UFC.
Yeah.
It seemed like ever since LeVar Johnson knocked him out with those vicious uppercuts, like now like anyone can knock out Beltran when he used to be known for his chin.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Quentin Jackson one, it's hard to say whether or not he really got
Yeah.
knocked out, so he hasn't got knocked out since then, and he's
Dude.
been in some wars, kind of.
You got to check out if you didn't see it. Did you see that like crazy inverted triangle finish on the
I think I saw like a zombie prophet gif
Yeah, it
of
was
it.
so cool. The guy was
Yeah.
on bottom side control and just like threw his legs up and got a inverted triangle like upside down and ended up finishing it, and it was really slick.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh, hey, let's go ahead and talk about next week's. You know what we need to do? We need, and it's sucks to have to talk straight chalk, but we need to go over the next 2 events because I don't think I'm going to be able to record 2 weeks for. Oh, you know what? I'm going to be. What's next weekend? I'll be able to
September
record
20th.
next weekend. I'm wrong. Cool. Then we can go ahead and do this one event and then not have to go over the following one. I can record next weekend. It's the following weekend that I don't think I can. Okay, cool. So this card here, I don't know if I'm going to go top to bottom, but we usually do that every way. I always say that as in like, well, we don't need to go over everyone. And then I'm just like, I read them anyway out loud. Let's do some betting odds with them too. Maximo Blanco versus Daniel Hooker. Johnny Case, stop me if you want to say something. Johnny Case versus Kazuki Tokudome. Kyung Ho Kang versus Mikanori Tanaka.
Kyung Ho Kang's good.
Yeah.
That's all I want to say.
Yun Yu Lim versus Takanori Sato.
Yeah.
Sato.
Lim is cool. Right? He main evented against Tarek Safadine. Did a good job.
Mm-hmm. Sam Cecilia against Katsunori Kikuno.
Good fight.
Yes, it is. Cecilia is just kind of a brawler.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Kichi Kunamoto versus Richard Walsh. Richard Walsh was on the Ultimate
Tough
Fighter.
Australia.
Yeah.
Kunimoto is good, man. He came in. Well, in his debut, he fought this guy Luis Dutra, and he won, but it was DQ. The guy was elbow in the back of his head. But he came back and remember Daniel Sarafian?
Yep.
He fought Daniel Sarafian and choked him out in the first round, like with ease.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God! Please tell me you're on Sherdog right now.
Yeah.
Oh my God! All right, so we're gonna run through this one real quick. Kyoji Horiguchi versus John Delos Reyes. Unless there's something you want to say.
Okay.
Because can we talk about Alex Caceres against Masanori Kanehara and that thumbnail of Masanori?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
he's got,
God!
Like the wire rimmed glasses, like looking weird.
It looks like he's like playing a role on like, I don't know, Big Bang Theory or something. Like he's like, no, oh man, you remember like 16 Candles? And did you ever see 16 Candles?
Yeah.
Do you remember like the foreign exchange student that lived at her house?
Oh yeah.
That's what it reminds me of, like a character actor.
That's funny.
Bruce Leroy, I hope he wins that. We can go ahead and start talking about betting lines if they're out there right now. Yeah. Actually, there's nothing. There's nothing except for the main event. No betting lines out except for the main event. You idiots. What is up with that? That's not the way in any other sport. It's only MMA. Yeah. What do you think here? Caceres is the favorite. Now, originally, Uriah Faber was supposed to be going up against Kanehara, right?
Yep.
Now, why should I think that Kanehara should be fighting Uriah Faber, and why should I think that he'll beat Caceres?
You shouldn't have thought he should have been fighting Uriah Faber.
He's a good striker, right? He's a good striker.
He is. He's got some submissions too.
Okay.
He's pretty well rounded. He's got a lot of experience. He's got like almost 35 fights under his belt. He's only 31. You know, he's been fighting since like 2003. So.
Yeah, all right. I guess he's on a tear. I mean, his last fight he got disqualified. He's on a hell of a tear before then. Mm-hmm. You know. So
yeah, he's been fighting in Japan the whole time. I'm just
looking for anybody that don't know many of these people, don't know many of these losses down here either. Getting beat by people other than Hioki, I don't know any of them.
Marlon Sandro knocked him out.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's the only one I know besides, Hioki.
Yeah, I don't really know a whole lot what's going on with that dude.
I don't know. He's gotten a little bit of hype. He's supposed to be a UFC.
Is he cross-eyed?
It kind of looks like he's got something going on with his eye, like some like Bisping, how he looks now.
Everything's going wrong with that dude. And his opponent is going to go wrong for him too. Bruce Leroy, the man. I think he's going to.
I'm taking Bruce Leroy. I don't know much about Kanehara, but I don't know. I have a feeling Bruce Leroy's going to spoil his debut.
I hope. Okay, Misha Tate going against Rin Nakai.
God, check that chick out.
Which one, Rin?
Rin Nakai. Do you know about that girl? Like what she's all about?
I mean,
she does like weird Japanese softcore porn.
What?
Yeah, you gotta go ahead and check her out on your own time.
Okay.
If you just do a Google image search real quick, just to get the idea.
Okay.
You'll be like, huh.
Oh yeah, I see. Oh, and she's like,
she's jacked. She's like this little fire hydrant.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah. I'm just seeing like modeling photos right now.
Okay.
Not like that. Well, kind of like that, but
I don't know.
okay,
if
yeah, I
you
see.
can find
Yeah.
her naked or anything, but
Oh, yeah. But nah, she's kind of muscly. And
so thick.
yeah. Okay. All right. Moving on. Rinnika, yeah, okay, going against, oh no, wait, what? I'm looking at the wrong damn thing. Yeah, she's going against Misha Tate. I mean, I don't know anything really about, do you know, Misha Tate should be the heavy favorite here, right?
You would think.
Yeah. All right.
I don't care if this chick's 16-0. I think she's just gonna get manhandled.
I agree. Akiyama is back and Amir am I looking at the right event? Akiyama is going against Amir Sadala?
Yeah, what is this?
And how does Amir
2010?
Sadala only have an MMA record of 6-4? He's only fought 10 professional fights, and he made his debut in the UFC in 2008.
Armbarring CB Dalloway after armbarring him on the show.
I know. Oh, man, that made me think of Tim Credor. I really liked that guy.
Yeah,
I wish he
he
was
was fun to
still
watch.
around because he was like kind of involved in all that.
This guy he doesn't fight all that often, and I don't know. That is weird. 6-4. It's like, geez.
Yeah. God, I wish there was a betting line out for this fight. Why can't there be a betting line out for Miles Jury versus Takanori Gomi? Why is that?
I don't know. You would think.
I mean, I'd imagine Miles Jury would be the big favorite, but Takanori Gomi, despite everyone thinking he's probably washed up, actually hasn't been that bad in his last few fights. We hear you
No.
typing, Alex. We hear you.
I was looking for betting lines.
Oh. I have it up. Oh, are you questioning me? Are you questioning me? Good luck.
I'm questioning your search
I have
skills, but
best fight odds. It has 5 dimes, Bet DSI, Bookmaker, Bovada, Sportbet, Sportsbook, Bet US, Pinnacle, Sports International, SBG Global, The Greek, Bet Online. Are you questioning me? Are you questioning me now? You're questioning me, aren't you?
I can only find the main event, like you said.
Okay. All right. Shush it. I just said shush it. That's terrible.
You sure did.
Shut your mouth, idiot. Okay, I like that more. Mark Hunt has Bluetooth in his thumbnail for Sherdog.
They use the weirdest thumbnails.
You know what? Okay, Sherdog needs some quality control going on. Just throwing it out there. Okay. Going against Roy Nelson. Man, oh my God. Mark Hunt has an MMA record of 9-8-1.
Yeah.
That's it?
Oh.
That's it.
The majority of his career was in kickboxing.
Well, all right, he made his debut over 10 years ago. Wow.
Yeah,
9-8-1. Hasn't even fought. Damn.
And if
Hasn't
you would have
even
told me he was going to have
fought
7
20
UFC
times.
fights, if you would have told me that back in, whatever, like 2008, 2009, I would have laughed in your face.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't think he was going to make a UFC run. No
Look
way.
how bad his. Oh my God! Look at that so-called streak he was on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 losses in a row. But he had to
Yeah.
fight Barnett,
Look at that
Emelianenko,
line of killers, though, besides
Overeem.
McCorkle.
Manhoff, Musasi, McCorkle.
I
But
mean-
he's really turned up his training since then. His submission game his ground game's improved. His wrestling defense is improved.
He had a submission locked on Fedor when they fought. Do you remember that?
I do remember it, but I mean, I'd have to watch it again.
Ridiculous.
Fedor got one locked on him too.
Yeah.
But okay, yeah. Ever since his Ben Rothwell fight was terrible. I know he had a knockout win over Chris Teixeira, but really since the Ben Rothwell fight has he looked better. But I'm gonna go ahead and say this. I don't think he's really looked good. Yeah, I mean we love Mark Hunt, and I think as MMA fans we love Mark Hunt. And God, am I happy that he, knocked out Czech Congo early in that fight. And I'm really happy that he knocked out Stefan Struve late in their fight. But he didn't look that good against Junior Dos Santos. He had really trouble getting in. Now, that's not going to be a problem against Roy Nelson, and Dos Santos has great striking. But I really thought technically Mark Hunt would look better, like a kickboxer, a little bit better. The Antonio Silva fight, he looked pretty good. Pretty good, right? What would you say? Okay.
I think we know what we're getting with Mark Hunt, man.
Yeah.
He's just a guy with a iron head that's got good, solid, heavy punches with decent technique. He doesn't really move around a lot, and you're probably going to see...
So he's fighting himself.
Yeah, pretty much. You're going to see a rock'em sock'em, or you should. Unless Roy Nelson decides to try and take him down.
I'm going to tell you this. I think one of these guys gets knocked out. I don't see them landing leather on each other too much.
For 5 rounds.
I don't even see it lasting 2 rounds of striking. This is not going to be Antonio Silva versus Mark Hunt. This is going to be a guy goes down. I really think so.
That makes sense. I could see it.
But if you had to judge by their history, I don't know which one has more of a chance of knocking the other one out. Roy is the worst striker.
Yeah, but I think he's going to get the knockout.
Yeah, me too. I feel like his punching power is a little more powerful, and for some reason, I think his chin's a little better. Not that I have much to go off of, and I think his gas tank is definitively better.
I always thought Hunt's power was a little overrated.
Yeah. But you know what, though? Hunt's gas tank, I guess, isn't terrible. He's looked okay as gas tank sometimes, but, I mean, he's been in some brutal fights where both guys gassed, but he hasn't gassed before his opponent that often.
No, not really.
So maybe I'm underestimating his gas tank. Roy Nelson has a pretty good gas tank considering what he looks like. Mm-hmm. But
I mean, he'll gas, don't get me wrong, but it should be much worse, like carrying around all that unnecessary weight.
Okay, all right. We're both going with Roy Nelson, but I'm not really sure why I am.
I know, me neither. I'm going KO in the 3rd.
Yeah, I'll say KO early in middle of second.
Okay.
If they are like Rock'em Sock. But then there's also the chance, though, I like the 3rd round pick, because if Roy Nelson's gas tank lasts, then he could finish off Hunt once Hunt gasses.
Who'd you have for Gomi Jury? I don't think we even...
Oh, Jury.
Okay. Yeah, he should. I mean,
I jumped
Gomi's kind of a name to put on your mantle at this point.
Yeah. But I was saying he hasn't been as bad as people think. That's what we were talking about. And I don't know how we got sidetracked, but we did.
Yeah.
Okay. Just in case we can't, and it's exciting and it's kind of coming up. UFC 178. I just want to say real quick, Poirier McGregor, how you feeling about that? Because right now Poirier you can get him at plus 225, meaning you put $100 down, you win $225.
Nah, I think McGregor has it.
Okay. God, man, I want to say Poirier.
I know his striking defense isn't there. He's gonna get caught.
Eddie Alvarez and Donald Cerrone it's literally identical. Like, you can get Cerrone. You know what? At Bet Online right now, Cerrone is at plus 100. I don't really know what that means. I guess
that's might
even?
as well be even. Yeah.
I don't know why they're saying plus 100, but you get what I mean. Okay, so you can get him at even, and you can get Eddie Alvarez at minus 107. But
I'd go Alvarez, man. It's a bad matchup for Cerrone, in my opinion, because he's such a fast starter, and Cerrone takes a little bit to get warmed up. I think he's going to get overwhelmed early.
Okay. What about, I don't know, man. That's tough.
Yeah.
Chris Carrieso against Dimitri. Yeah, we can't even, we know what we think.
Just destroyed.
Yeah. He gon' get hurt. Looking up ahead, I'm just looking at random betting lines that have been announced. Sportbet already has betting lines for the Nelson Story fight from top to bottom, and we don't have betting lines for the Hunt Nelson card.
Weird.
It's absolute. It's disgusting, my friend. It's disgusting. I'm surprised how close the Anthony Pettis Gilbert Melendez line is. As a matter of fact, one time it was even closer. That line wasn't that close to even, but it was in the mid 100s at one point. I am very happy that the Daniel Cormier line is getting very close to even. Mm-hmm. I think that just goes to prove when people say who's the best fighter, who's this, and the guy takes a fight where he's predicted to potentially, that'd be really funny. Like if John Jones came into that fight as the underdog.
Oh man,
that'd be hilarious. But it's close to that.
Mm-hmm. It'd be insane.
And I bet you if you took out the ignorant fan who doesn't know anything and you just took the fans who definitely knew both fighters' profile, it'd already be right at even. I think that fight is a coin flip. When you ask the educated fan, I think you're talking 50-50. And the people who go Jones are typically guys who are fair weather, who are like, John Jones is the best in the world. Of course he's going to win.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at 178, and it's just going to be so fun. That's a good card.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
from top to bottom, I'm excited about every fight, and I haven't been able to say that in a long time.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Dominic Cruz fight again.
I know. That's
I'm
crazy.
so excited for that. I'm very excited. I don't even like him that much, but I'm excited to see him fight.
That'll be great. Look at Tim Kennedy, Romero. That's a good fight. Like James Krause, George Masvidal's good.
I'll tell you right now. All right, Yoel Romero is the favorite against Tim Kennedy. You can take that line and I'm telling you right now, you can get Tim Kennedy at plus 119. It's not much, but I would take that fight at even. I'm thinking Tim Kennedy. That is insane.
I'm on board with that.
If anyone bets UFC, right now Tim Kennedy is the underdog against Yoel Romero. Go bet your bank account on Tim Kennedy.
It's crazy. I feel like some wrestling fans just took a look at Romero and were like, "Whoa, he's huge." Yeah. All right, he's the favorite.
And I'm telling you, I'm not great at picking fights top to bottom, but when I feel very strongly about an upset and stuff and underdogs who have a good chance of winning, I'm usually better. You know, I thought Gray Maynard was a good underdog to bet on and he lost. But generally speaking, when I look at them like that, like when Cain Velasquez fought Brock Lesnar, when there are fights where I'm like, oh my God, this guy's the underdog, you need to bet on him. Mm-hmm. And this is one that's kind of glaring. It's not as much. Ben Rothwell versus Alistair Overeem was like, oh my God, am I not looking at this fight right?
Right.
What is happening right now? You can get how much on this guy? $380 for $100? Oh my God. But, you know, okay. God, geez, looking at these lines are insane. Chris Carriaso is such an underdog that if you put $100 down, you win 971.
I mean, you might as well put 10 down.
Dude, check this out. If you put $10 on Demetrius Johnson, you don't even win $1. As a matter of fact, if you put $13 down, you don't win $1. You have to bet $14 to win $1 on Bet Online. Now you can get him where it's 12-1, but still. If you're betting on Bet Online, you have to bet $14 to win $1. You have to bet $1,400 just to win $100. Who in the hell is putting money on that? People who have like $1 million who are like, I'm going to put like, or multimillionaires who are like, I'll put 10 grand on him and take my, 1,400.
Oh God.
Or if that's how it works, I think that's how it works, but you get what I mean. I'm rambling. Look, I know there's more stuff that we could talk about, but we've had a pretty good length, and this is kind of the length we want to keep them. Is there anything that you're like, when I say, Alex, MMA news in the past 2 weeks, upcoming fights, anything big that happened? I know there are a couple things, but is there anything off the top of your head that's like, oh, we got to talk about this?
No, I mean, it's cool that they're putting Belfort Weidman on the same card as Pettis Melendez.
Uh-huh.
And now they just added Schaub, Travis Brown to it, and that should be a slang. So there'll be some good fights on that one.
Yeah, like there is stuff that I don't even want to like talk. Like there's the Nick Diaz arrest, DUI. Like again, it's stuff that I guess I don't really want to talk about it a ton.
You mention it like you just did.
Yeah, it's a second DUI in 10 months or something. I don't know what's going to happen with it, or I don't even know if Dana White's really spoken on it. Another reason I don't want to talk about it is because I'm not as educated on it. But the other big thing that happened was that whole Bellator shit with Bonner and Ortiz and.
So dumb. I don't even want to go over it. They went with a pro wrestling move, and I don't know. It made them look second rate as they are.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, can you hop on Facebook just for a second, or will it mess you up?
I'm there, dog. I'm not even paying attention to this show. I've been reading my newsfeed the whole time.
Look at what I just sent you. Tell me what you think of that poster for 178.
Oh, damn. I like it. Is that the real poster for it?
Yeah. I don't like it.
All
I
right.
don't like how
All right, I'm gonna tell you this, but
DJ looks.
before you say it, oh, you don't like how Demetrius Johnson
It looks like he's
Holding-
Cariaso's dad, and he's like
holding him.
showing him how to punch.
I'll tell you this: what I don't like is the size differences.
Yeah.
So like, Demetrius,
He's
Cerrone, and Poirier are all bigger than their opponents, who are actually in front of them, which does not make sense. So they're in front, the guy in the rear is bigger. Another thing I don't like about it is the weird, like the way they put Alvarez over top of Cerrone looks weird because it looks like they're almost fighting and Alvarez is about to uppercut Cerrone, but it's like clearly two different. Maybe they should have outlined them or made them pop so it didn't look like they were in the same room. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It looks like they're in the same picture together.
Yeah, it's just bad.
And then
Kinda like-
Poirier is getting McGregor from behind. But I'm cool with that one. I'm okay with that one.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. He's cheering. He's happy. He's doing the arm up doggy.
I swear, man, some of the fan-made posters you see out there are 10 times better than anything the UFC promo guys come up with.
I know. I just thought you were just showing it to me because I should be excited for the fights, but I didn't really look at it that much, and I started thinking about it, and I'm like,
Yeah,
well,
I just thought I thought you would critique it. Which
the
you did.
font on the 8 is terrible. Look at that 8 for a second. Do you have it pulled up?
Uh-huh.
Please look at the 8 for a second.
Yeah, it looks like 2 3s.
It is the worst font in the world, and you can't even see the right side of the. No, that is. Oh my God, the UFC is just going down the pipe. They really screwed the pooch on this one. There's going to be a lot of backlash for this flyer.
They're through.
They're done. This organization is down the tube, huh? What did they come to? And I'm saying, God damn, get
All right,
down
man, we got to wrap it up because I got to set my fantasy football lineups.
Wrap it up. All right, dude. You got to get back to work.
What?
What? What? Can I say that on the air?
No.
All right, I'll never say it again.
Say what?
Nothing. Oh, crap.
No one listens to this. doesn't they?
No one, man. No one. You're not
one
even
knows.
listening. If you're listening to this right now, you're not even really listening to it. Everything is a figment of your imagination.
You're
Nothing
lying
is
to
real.
yourself.
Nothing exists except for whatever is going on in your brain. That's it. That's it. You don't even exist. Look at yourself. I'm sorry. On that
Deep.
note, deep, going in deep, man. All right. Hey, I'm out. You're out. Get off
I'm out.
here. I'm done talking to you. Get out of here. You suck. I hate your guts, you bastard. All right, guys. Tune in next week. We'll be here for another episode of the Color Me Bloody MMA podcast. Oh, real quick, guys. Real quick. I'll make it quick. Don't worry. You can find us on Twitter at Color Me Bloody. You can find us on the Facebooks at colormebloodymma.com on the Facebooks or some shit, you know. You ever meet those people who don't? www. Those
W.
guys. http/www. You got us on the iTunes. You can rank us and write us on there. And in a Stitcher, you can add us to your plavers or some shit. What do I know? Who am I? I don't even exist. I'm just a figment of your imagination. Okay. He
Like
really
your
didn't
dumb
exist, though.
New York guy accent.
The dumb da blah da. It's really dumb New York guy.
Like retarded.
All right. We good. You get your
Yeah.
fantasy lineups. I got to call in my picks too. Cool. All right. Bye. Oh no, we're good. Bye.
Wow.